So, and now we have the very, very speed presentation of the posters. So, I remind you the rule. Each poster has exactly 2 minutes.
Good days to everybody. Our poster title, The Chemical Analysis of Soil Plants with High Boron Concentration by Log Ratio Analysis. We showed in this poster the chemical analysis results of the soil plant in regions containing a high concentration of boron test by log ratio analysis. In this study, we investigated 7 bore reserve areas in Turkey, especially west area in Turkey. Boron concentration together with on these elements and organic matter proportions in the soil at the sample areas were determined by chemical analysis. Also, the same process was repeated for plants that grew around boron reserves. Log ratio analysis was applied for chemical analysis of soil plant with high boron concentration. We study chemical analysis were in 3 stages. First stage, soil samples taken from areas were analyzed. We termed this element. Also, at second stage, we search the leaf, stem, roots, flower, and fruit, and of 10 boron tolerant plants were analyzed. Last stage, we investigated the soil of these plant soil were analyzed in terms of all these elements. Log ratio analysis was applied to the results of chemical analysis in 3 stages. Also, you can see all for 3 stage all graphic. Thank you very much.
So I'm going to speak about the poster Hedonism and Categorisation, an example of multiple factor analysis with mixed data. Our project deals with perception of wine labels. We worked with categorization, which is a sensorial analysis method, also called sorting task. In this method, the judge compares the products globally using his own criteria. So we might wonder about the importance of its link with hedonism, which is the notion of liking. And for the data collection, we made 16 labels according to an experimental design, and some are presented on the slide. And the judges made groups of labels and evaluated the expected quality of the wine, giving a score. We envisage 2 main questions. So in an individual approach, are groups made by a judge linked to the hedonism? And in a global approach, are groups homogeneous or differentiated by hedonism, all judges taken together? So on the poster, you will see how can we represent differences between 2 groups of variables with different types and different signification in order to compare them, and which label characteristics are linked to the hedonism and the categorization. And finally, and it's very important, how to represent on the same graph judges regarding to their categorization only, which is a categorical data, judges regarding to their hedonic rates only, which is a quantitative data, and judges regarding to both hedonic and categorical point of view, which is a group of quantitative and categorical data. Thank you for your attention.
So I will present you another poster we've made with the same wine labels Amandine just presented you. So the title is Personalized Holistic Approaches Handled by Hierarchical Multiple Factor Analysis. And an example in which free choice is given to consumer concerning the type of the questionnaires. So in our study, 67 consumers had to sort 16 wine labels according to the image they compared to wine. And free choice is given to consumer between 2 holistic methods in order to sort the labels. They can choose the free sorting, which consists to create homogeneous groups of labels. And they can also choose the sorted mapping, which consists to place the labels on a tablecloth. And afterwards, they can bring together labels in different groups. So to each judge who chose the free sorting correspond just one categorical variables, where one category is one group created by the consumer. And to each judge who choose sorted mapping correspond two quantitative variables, the coordinates of the labels on the tablecloth, and one categorical variables which correspond to the group created by the consumers. So we have to deal with both quantitative and categorical variables at the same time. And if you come and read our poster, you will get the answer to this question, how to handle data in which consumers do not answer in the same way to the same question. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings and good afternoon. I know background image is a little bit clumsy, but try to read. In this poster study, we investigated Turkish media's attitude toward athletics news. Generally, athletics news do not take serious place in printed press. Even those published news that take place are nothing but composed of the results of important competitions and some news about athletes that take place in those competitions. So we think that those news that take place also doesn't matter. Actually, this study is about gathering data, much more related gathering data than analysis. We have worked with real-world data obtained from a monitoring system, media monitoring system to the Turkish Athleticism Federation. This data is quite a bit unstructured, which has serviced as image files to the federation. We dealt with those data that take place under several folder and subfolder hierarchy within magnetic disk. We wrote several shell scripts on a GNU Linux platform using classical Unix tools that nowadays that live in GNU Linux systems. Those are Bash, shell itself, awk, sed, etc., and also GNU Unix date and core utils like date. I'm finishing. That's all. Okay.
Okay, so I have a special message for all the gentlemen in this room. I bet you are big fans of Madonna, and especially of the song, Do You Know Who It's Like for a Girl in This World? So your dream can come true if you come to see our poster, because it's about a very feminine product that's lipstick, and a very complex product, maybe as much as its users, because it's very linked, we think, to its context and emotional state, because a woman's not going to wear the same lipstick for a romantic dinner, for instance, with you, or for lunch with her family. So that's why our aim was to understand the usage of a lipstick through the emotional states that could be related to it. And therefore, we tried to develop a new method that we called intimate projective mapping, that you will discover on our poster, of course. So to rise up to this aim, we collected as much data as possible and as original as possible, and therefore our judges had to associate lipstick with emotional state pictures, and then they had to indicate their usage of the lipstick considering 7 specific everyday life situations. So this is basically our data tables. So you can see our contingency table that we made with products and pictures. And so we got the coordinates for our products and then projected the usage marks for the studied group. So this is basically what we got. So we've got a factorial map based on emotional states, and then we protected the usages of the different lipstick onto it. So you'll know more about it if you come to see our poster.
Okay, this is the international diffusion of durable goods. Its origin is on rural sociology. It's a diffusion of innovations. It's in the 50s when this started, and then marketers have used it to see have used the techniques from rural sociology to see how ideas and products and services spread in a social system. Yes. Here, what international means is that I use 70 countries. The social system is the world, and the products are durable goods. This means products like refrigerators, computers, anything used in households. The data set that I use is percentage of level of possession of households. Yes? Okay. There is three types of plots in the poster. One is about innovations only. The other one is about discontinuance and maturities. That means all technologies. And the other one is all together. Finally, okay. Normally, what has been used in marketing is to model the rate of adoption. That means the relative speed between the relative speed of adoption in social systems of a product. Principal component analysis gives a global picture, and you will be able to see it in the poster. Thank you.
Hello. I'm here to introduce our poster, arising the following question: how consumers' food habits shape hedonic judgment. This study focuses on sensory analysis in the particular context of a cross-cultural approach. The issue is thus to identify consumers' preferences dealing with unusual products and consumers of different cultures. We have the opportunity to illustrate this matter with the case of a study ordered by the Korean government in the context of its commercial expansion. The government wishes to export Bibimpap to France, which is a national dish composed of vegetables and rice. And he wants to identify what are the determinants of French liking. An original database has so been collected. French and Korean consumers sampled 5 recipes of bibimbap, differing in the type of rice used, for example, basmati rice or a Japanese one. First of all, the testers had to report their hedonic judgments in terms of appearance, texture, flavor, and overall liking. They had also to evaluate their family with each sample. And secondly, participants were asked to fulfill an eating behavior questionnaire, assessing their acceptance towards new foods with 18 items such as I prefer having familiar food or I usually eat ethnic food. The issue here is to process multiple data tables of different nature collected in 2 different countries. As an illustration, we highlight the influence of eating behavior profiles and familiarity with the sampled product on the overall liking. Thank you.
My name is Ronaldo Bastos. I'm the supervisor of the first author, Márcio Souza. He's doing his PhD. He has just started it. So what we wanted to propose a new attitude score, which could analyze various aspects that are presented in the data. So normally what we see is just the summation of the scores in a Likert scale for example, and we wanted to use a weighted score rather than a simple summation. So we have been using complex databases in a collaboration with Southampton University. So we use the BHPS, which is the British Household Panel Survey, and the European Community Household Panel, and a database like this. And so we implemented all the routines in R, in statistical software, and we chose the multiple correspondence analysis solution, which was MJCA, using the CA package for a birth matrix. So the idea, you have the individuals, you have the balls representing the categories, and you have, in this example, a three-dimensional space and three categories for two variables. And so this is the proposed score. We just have the number in the Likert scale that each individual gave to each category. And then what we do, we just propose for categories of variable A, for example, and the categories for variable B, a kind of weight. We called it P because in Portuguese it's peso. So these are the weights. You can see them better, but it's related to different distances from the individuals to their categories, okay? And so this is it. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. So the way the consumer use their cell phones is evolving very quickly nowadays. So people not only phone with their mobiles, but also listen to music or watch movies. So in this context, the audio properties of mobiles become more and more important and is a key criterion in the purchase of a phone. So big brands company of mobile want to improve the functionality of the headphones loudspeakers. So to do that, they start developing sensorial approaches to understand the perception of mobile. But those methods are restrictive and they require trained jury and are not instinctive. So we present in our poster an experiment to understand loudspeakers by holistic approach. So the sorted mapping. Our problematic is to know if we can reach some results with special products as loudspeaker and using a holistic approach on a panel of non-initiated judge. So to do that, we use software. So judge can listen to music and placing them on the screen, which represents the map and can characterize a group they are formed with words. So if you want to have more details on our results, you can see our poster. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jules de Tibero. I will talk about correspondence analysis with incomplete pair data. So I did the first time I did the analysis of this data set in 1996 with Professor Benzenkli. We have to complete the missing value about the minimum price criteria. But today, I don't have the time to explain to you what is correspondence analysis. It's just a statistical technique to display a structural relationship in two-way table. So the problem is that correspondence analysis is a natural method for investigating dependency in contingency table, but it requires complete tables. So the method we propose, because this morning my colleague Vartan did the same treatment of this data using taxi cab correspondence analysis, but here we describe a Bayesian approach for handling missing data. We impute missing value as the median of the posterior distribution under the hierarchical Bayes model. We first use Markov chain Monte Carlo, MCMC, to estimate this underlying. So we impute missing value as the median of the posterior distribution under the hierarchical Bayes model. We use Markov chain Monte Carlo to estimate these underlying values, and then use correspondence analysis to investigate the relationships in the completed table. So we apply our method to a data set about congenital cardiovascular defects. So there we see the different problem about direct factor, inverse factor. This problem is resolved here by a Bayesian approach. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. In our study, we focus on the visualization in high dimension, and we have selected two important topics. First is what to expect when exploring high-dimensional data, and second is the visualization of high-dimensional data in an exploratory multivariate framework.
So, what about the context of this study? Nowadays, data of a higher and a higher dimension, because it's easier to collect a large amount of data rather than select beforehand. So, we will focus on a case where the number of individuals n is very small in comparison to the number of variables p, and we will take the example of a genomic dataset. Due to interdependencies between genes, we will want to have an exhaustive approach, and that's why we choose the principal component analysis.
Before studying a real data set, we study a specific case, the random case, where all the variables are generated randomly. And we can observe two things. First, the border of the correlation circle is never reached. And the second, we can observe the inertia of each axis. After the study of this random case, we compare the random case with the real data set.
Now, the second problem is how to graphically visualize those high-dimensional data. So the first step is to improve the variables representation, and the second step is to select a smaller amount of variables, because the graphical visualization is not enough to make the interpretation possible for this high number of variables. So we selected two methods, and both of them want to keep the original structures of the dataset before selection. Thank you.
Hello, no slides, just a few sentences on our poster. We use Gifi methods to explore EU-SILC data. So EU-SILC is a survey conducted annually in the EU member states and some other countries as well, focusing on people's income and living conditions. We concentrate on the risk of poverty and how it is related to certain demographic variables. And for this purpose, we use the R package HOMALS developed by Deleo and Meyer, and provide the results of simple homogeneity analysis and two extensions, namely nonlinear principal components analysis and nonlinear canonical correlation analysis. Thank you.